So today we're talking about exponent properties. You've learned these before in Algebra 1. Yes, I'm teaching it in my Algebra 1 class right now. I know you've learned it. Exponent properties. So there's the product of powers. So for example, if I have like x to the 4th times x to the 5th, what I do here is I hang up on the call instead of dancing to it. What I do is I add my exponents when there's a multiplication sign in between. So it's my answer here would be x to the 9. Because when it's product of powers, you just add them. Yeah. What? Yeah. Okay. Then there's power to a power. So this one would be like if I had x to the 3 and then the... Yeah, to the 4. So like the stuff that's inside the parentheses is also raised to another power. When this happens, I multiply my exponents. So it would be x to the 12. Then there's power of a product. So if I had something like 2x on the inside raised to the 3rd power, I would distribute that exponent to the 2 and the x. What? Yeah. Then I can have negative exponents. So if I have something like x to the negative 2, what this does is it turns it into, guys, a fraction. This one? Yeah, I give the exponent to both numbers. What? Because remember how normal exponents are multiplication? Negatives mean the opposite. So the opposite of multiplication is division, and that's why it's a fraction. Because fractions are the same as division. Yeah, I use the one as a placeholder. Okay. Because this is just an example, like with just letters. I don't know why I don't remember why I did all letters, but I did. So, I can also have 0 exponents. Anything to the 0 power is 1. And then the next one is quotient of powers. We've kind of done this one before. So like if I had x to the 5th divided by x cubed, this is kind of like when we were doing polynomial division. You subtract your exponents. So 5 minus 3 is 2. And the last one is power of a quotient. So if I have something like 2 over x raised to the 4th power, I would give the exponent to the 2 and the x. So it would be 2 to the 4th over x to the 4th. What? No. If it doesn't have an exponent, it's a 1. If the exponent isn't written, it's always a 1. So, yeah? You answer your own question? You give it to both, yeah. Yeah. Because, yeah, it already had an exponent. Okay, that's fine. Any other questions? So those are the rules. Now we're going to work on the problems. This is why we went over fractions yesterday. Yeah, all the fractions are exponents on this worksheet. So the reason why we went over fractions yesterday is because these problems have fraction exponents, and I needed to make sure you knew those. So on number 1, this one is using the product of powers rule. Alex, be quiet. Was Marvin? I'm sorry. I just heard it from that corner. I didn't know who it was. So on this one, I want to add my exponents. I have 1/4 plus 1/2. So what do I want to do so I can add them? Get a common denominator. So what do I need on the 1/2? 2 over 2. Guys, you're way too loud. So then it turns into 1/4 plus 2/4. What? Ah, multiply by 2 over... Yeah. I don't like how I wrote that fraction though, so I'm going to rewrite it really quick. Ah. What? I could have just what? So this gives me what? 1/4 plus 2/4? 3/4. So my exponent on my answer is... This pen is dying. 3/4. 7 to the 3/4. No. You keep the base the same. That one was product of powers. What was your question? The base always stays the same, no matter what. What? Yeah. Let's try a different blue pen. Alright, so on number 2, this one, I want to do what? What? I want to distribute my exponent. So this one is power of a product. So then I multiply 2 times 1/2, which is 2 times 1/2. Remember, this is the same thing as saying 2 over 1 times 1/2. 2 over 2, which is 1. So my exponent on 6 is a 1. And then my exponent on 4 is a... It's not an answer. 2 over 3. Because I did 2 over 1, what am I doing? Times 1 over 3. So that's my answer here. No. So this one was power over product. So when you have an exponent outside the parentheses, it goes to each of the numbers inside, and then it also kind of uses power over power here. So I multiply them. Yeah. So I move the exponent inside, and then I multiply. I distribute the exponent to the exponents I already have. Yes. Because 2 times 1/2 is 2 over 2, which is this one. Yeah, you just put it over 1 to make it into a fraction. 2/3, yeah. Okay, so number 3 is power over product and negative exponent together. So for this one, I'm going to distribute first and then I'll take care of the negative. But you could do it in either order. So negative 1/5 times 4/5, 4 to the 5th. What? Let me rephrase this. Negative 1/5 times 5. Negative 1. 5 times negative 1/5. For the 3. Negative 1 as well. So negative exponents mean I turn it into a fraction. I use 1 on the top as a placeholder. And then I'm going to write 4 times 3 on the bottom. If you had a question like this for reals, you can multiply 4 and 3 because you know. 4 times. That's a... Because I turned it into a fraction. I like to think of the negative exponents as like a fraction bar. But the negative really means the opposite of multiplying. Hmm? Okay. So questions on that one? Number 4 is using quotient of powers. The 5 has a secret exponent of 1 on top. So what I do for quotient of powers is I subtract my exponents. I have 1 minus 1/3. So how do I solve this one? Okay. And then, how'd I get the 1? The 5 didn't have an exponent, so when it doesn't have an exponent written, it's always assumed it's a 1. Yeah, if it's a 0, it will be written 0. The only number that's never written is 1. So now that I have 1 over 1, can I subtract? No. I have to turn it into the same fraction. 3. So then I have 3 over 3 minus 1 over 3. But this one? Yeah, the whole thing's negative. 2 over 3. So then, no, it'd be positive because the 3 is larger. So then the answer here is just 5 to the 2/3. Questions on 4? So number 5 is power of a quotient. So I'm just going to multiply my exponents. So then it's going to become 42 to the, what power? 2 times 1/3. 2/3. And 6 to the, it's 1/3 times 2 again. 2/3. What? There's stuff like yesterday in here. Okay, number 6 is, oh wait, questions on 5? Yeah, 2 times 1/3. No, on the bottom, the 6 is my base, so 6 stays there, and then I did 1/3 times 2 again, because the 2 was on the outside of the parentheses. So it goes in. Okay, so on number 6, this one is product of powers. I add my exponents, so I have 3/4 plus 1/2. How do I make it so I can add them? Yeah, times by 2 over 2 on the 1/2. So I have 3/4 still, because that didn't change. And then 1/2 times 2 over 2. What, Enid? The multiplication one or the 2 over 2? Oh, okay. So then 3/4 plus 2/4. 5/4. So my exponent on 2 is going to be 5/4. Questions here? Yeah, you just gotta write it once. So basically what we're doing is simplifying it so we don't have as many symbols and stuff. Any other questions?